Hello, hello. 8:15 in the PM. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Night Institution. It's the Prophecy. Jungle drum and bass each and every Sunday night. This is Lush, inside the place for Marcus tonight. A little bit of technical problems as we started. The CD players weren't working, but we're up and running now. So we are here. You can't shut us down. 89.5 FM, Prophecy, Lush, inside the place, straight through till 10 o'clock. 946-7000, give us a call.
Master Shop PS line, code red, that's past blue.
Boy, well, I have had a very, very serious, hectic weekend, and I'm just running on fumes right now. But I'm going to tell you all about it. Lots to talk about tonight. and a good diverse show of music. It's something I'm really feeling right now. Sounds of Matrix and Danny J on the remix, Insatiable. And before that, sounds of Caliber on a Bad Boy dub tip. Track called Waiting, forthcoming real soon on Signature. Another one I'm really into. And we started off with the sounds of DJ Hive, track called Last Call, forthcoming on True Players. Borrowing some classic Rare Groove business. You can name the numerous samples on that one. Gangstar, Black Moon.
Sisters, good night. I hope you're feeling alright.
Hello. 8:15 in the PM. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Night Institution. It's the Prophecy. Jungle drum and bass each and every Sunday night. This is Lush inside the place for Marcus tonight. A little bit of technical problems as we started. The CD players weren't working, but we're up and running now. So we are here. You can't shut us down. 89.5 FM, Prophecy, Lush inside the place, straight through till 10 o'clock. 946-7000, give us a call.
Monster Shop DS line, code red, that's past blue.
Boy, well, I have had a very, very serious, hectic weekend, and I'm just running on fumes right now. But I'm going to tell you all about it. Lots to talk about tonight. and a good diverse show of music. It's something I'm really feeling right now. Sounds of Matrix and Danny J on the remix, Insatiable. And before that, sounds of Caliber on a Bad Boy dub tip. A track called Waiting, forthcoming real soon on Signature. Another one I'm really into. And we started off with the sounds of DJ Hive, a track called Last Call, forthcoming on True Players. Borrowing some classic Rare Groove business. You can name the numerous samples on that one. Gangstar, Black Moon. It's Lush, it's Prophecy, keep it locked. Straight through till 10 o'clock. 946-7000. Calls are coming in real quick. Shout out to Nadine in Oshawa from Josh and Brampton. Hope I got that right. Time to get grinding. Sounds of Photech, Special Forces, Satisfy, Metalheads. Into the full circumference, all the flavors, Lush inside the place. This is The Prophecy if you just tuned in. 89.5.
15,000 watts. You know the drill. It's murder.
Keep it on that jungle flavor. 'Cause that's what it's all about this year for me. Well, you know what? No, really and truly, that's what it's been about for me for the last 15 years, but 12 years anyway. Keeping that jungle vibe alive. Yeah, there's drum and bass, but it's an urban sound. Sounds of Caliber. Gonna give you 2 in a row from Caliber right now. Hands down, one of my personal favorite tunes in a very long time. The mighty sounds of Breakage coming through hard this year. So Vain forthcoming very soon on Bassbin, and this is one of the big anthems so far for 2004. Whether you like it or not, get used to hearing it. Been waiting months to get this in my box and it's finally landed. This is Lush, it's the Prophecy. 89.5 FM each and every Sunday. Lots to talk about. Of course, this Friday, the big one returns. Theory. Inside for the very first time ever, the main room, Government. Very excited about that one. I've been waiting a very long time to hear drum and bass on that system. Never mind to play on it, but to hear drum and bass on that system. It's gonna be wicked. Mampy Swift, DJ Friction, MC Skibbity, Marcus, Lush, Everfresh, Caddy Cad. It is most definitely going to get grimy this Friday night. January the 23rd, make sure you're there. Government. 132 Queens Quay. Over 19. Bring your earplugs. Oh man, things are chaos in here tonight. You gotta bear with me. I'm running on about 4 hours sleep. Played Winnipeg last night. I was on the plane at 5 in the morning. I had to come pre-record the show and now we're here. But it's all good, we soldier it out. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's Lush, it's the prophecy. Sounds of artificial intelligence. I have some old school selection coming up, but you know what? I don't even know if we're going to fit it in. Which is a shame, because I was looking forward to play it. We'll see how it goes. Has some deep vintage selection to play tonight. Of course, don't forget each and every Saturday night down at System Soundbar, Jungle Bay Saturdays in the back room. Mystical, Ryan Ruckus, myself, Lush, and Saigon. Marcus on regular rotation as well. Hosted by Caddy Cad. For the late night flavor, each and every Saturday. Outside Green and Thornhill. That's my stomping grounds there. You know what? I have a brethren named Green in Thornhill, but I think it's a different guy. Sounds of DK. This one's hurting up the dance everywhere. Shout out to everyone in Winnipeg last night. Minus 40 degrees outside and 200 degrees inside the dance. This one went off. And of course, this tune is another big future anthem for Sex and the City, which you definitely want to check out each and every Saturday night at the Hooch, featuring the best in liquid funk, swerve, funky, whatever you want to call it. I just call it good music. Just above Gypsy Co-op, 19 plus clientele, and make a little bit of an effort to dress up slightly. I'll be touching down there this coming Saturday for the first time in about a month, so I'm looking to go in. Big shout out to Tragedy, also Hazardy, Theo, and Ruckus. We caught some jokes last night. Hope you guys are recovering well.
That when step up on the mic, we step correct. With the MCL Natural.
And the DJ Lush.
Catching wreck.
Sessa, man.
Everything set.
Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, hey. I love it, hey. I love it, hey. I love it, you know worship the devil, hey. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, hey. I love it, hey. I love it, hey. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, girl.
Alright, give you a brand new shot of the forthcoming Tally album. Shy FX T-Power on the remix. Check this one out. This one is hot.
Who's a reload? Who's a reload? Who's a rewind? Who's a rewind? Who's a rewind? Who's a rewind? Who's a reload? Who's a reload?
Fuck me dance, girl. Fuck me dance, hey. I love it, hey. I love it, hey. I love it, you know.
Reaching out to everybody in Winnipeg last night.
Dance, girl. Fuck me dance,
This was the tune.
dance, girl. Fuck me dance,
Absolutely busted up the place.
hey. I love it, hey. Fuck me dance,
MC Tally, Full Cycle.
girl. Fuck
Shy FX at T-Power remix. Track called Blazing. Got a Dillinger mix we're gonna throw in as well. Take your pick. Let the dance floors decide. It's Prophecy, baby. Lush. Keep it locked. Of course, tonight, 325 King Street West, Milano, Liquid Funk. Myself, Marcus, and DJ Slip gonna be touching down. I gotta fly straight there from here. Oh man, I gotta get some sleep. So make sure you get down there. 325 King Street West.
Trail through your mind and soul. This is how I like my beats to roll. Charlie coming in to bust up the place. Better run if you don't wanna roll with my bass. Blazing a lyrical trail through your mind and soul. This is how I like my beats to roll. Cause the styles that I got keep me in the game. So you all can't forget my name. It's a deep party, you can feel it. This is how I roll. Over the airways, that is how I'm bringing hype, alright. Out the love and out of the inspiration that I sing. To the way I'm gonna drop it, yeah, on the mic.
Who's a reload? This is trouble. Don't fear trouble.
trail through your mind and soul. This is how I like my beats to roll. Tally coming in to bust up the place. Better run if you don't wanna roll with my bass. Blazing a lyrical trail.
That was Shy FX and T-Power.
This is how
And here comes Dillinger.
Cause the styles that I got keep me in the game. So you all can't forget my name. Blaze, 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 blaze in a lyrical.
This is trouble, this is trouble, this is trouble. Don't play trouble.
Blaze, 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 blaze,
Prophecy.
blaze, blaze in a lyrical.
Hey yo, whoa whoa, this is Riddler, and when I'm in Toronto, you know you can always find me upon the number one 89.5 CIUT Prophecy, 15,000 watts, and we're blazing.
Prophecy, prophecy, prophecy. Burn sounds of Virus. Baron. Baron coming with a very strong 12-inch for Virus. People saying it doesn't fit on Virus. I don't know what label you're listening to. This is pure Virus. Maybe Virus from last year is not fitting, but Virus from the beginning, yeah. Know your history. Ed Russian Optical is all about the funk. Dark thing's just a vibe, remember that. So I had some really old vintage selection to play for the foundation tune tonight. But because there are little problems at the beginning, it really looks like I'm not going to get to play it. So I think next time I come on the show, I'm going to do an all old school foundation set. All reinforced, some proto jungle, just some of the tunes that got me into the music. We're talking 10, 12 years ago now. I know Prime did all old school show last week, and when I came on last week, I was supposed to do it as well, but I couldn't make it. So unfortunately, we're not going to fit that in this week, and I had some killers. Of course, can't stress it enough. This Friday night, the 23rd of January, Theory touches down for the first time ever in the main room at the government on the finest sound system possibly in North America and one of the finest clubs in all the world. So that is a real treat. Drum and bass for the first time there. We're getting treated like gold. Make sure you get there. Mampy Swift, DJ Friction, MC Skibbity, Marcus, Lush, Everfresh, Catty Cat. Things are most definitely going to get grimy. Hold tight, Jose. Big rave. Call me back, man. I'm going to wind down here, hand over the reins to DJ Prime. Of course, Marcus is back in next week. Jungle Bass next Saturday at System, also the Hooch. And Loose Wednesdays. And plenty more, but I don't have time to go into it right now. Till next time, this is Lush. Thanks for listening. Thanks for putting up with me. Always a pleasure. See you next time.
9:08 in the PM. Brand new sounds in the background. Sounds of Clute on his own label, Commercial Suicide. Brand new business. Reaching a bit back for this one. Sonic and Silver, The Backhander. Reaching back, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. L Plates Volume 2. Brand new release coming out of the Solar Camp. DK on a deep one. Space Odyssey. Reaching out to all the deep heads. that last one on the bass bin. Sounds of breakage. The flip side to So Vain, tune called, what's it called, Mars. And right into the Shadowboxing remix. Gonna roll out the beats till about 9:30, 9:35. And then we're gonna get into the CDRs a little bit. Got some new local stuff. Keep it locked. Prophecy, DJ Prime. Little liquid funk flavor coming out of the Planet Funk Camp. Track entitled Shy Girl. Supply and Demand and Ed Funk on the Flex for this 12-inch release. In your shops in the next week or so, probably. Newest release from the C4C, Cause for Concern. I'm a little ill right now. Just like everybody else, I guess. Something Else. In your shops. Came out just before Christmas. Brand new sounds off the Portica label coming in. Danny C. in the Swerve style. You know, Danny C can flip it any way he wants to go. He can come hard like Amen Pressure, or he can come in a Swerve style. Track entitled Good Times. The Message, done by the Optical and the Udrush, reaching out to Bandit. I know you're digging the sample on this one. brand new on the Chronic label. DJ Surge. Reaching out to Fresh. Sounds of Virus. Brand new release in your shops. The Way It Was, Baron. One of the first big ones of 2004. One of them. Now we're gonna get into some local Toronto stuff. It's a brand new UK stuff on CDR. It's been sitting on my computer for about a month. And over that break, you get distributors shut down, so you do some old school stuff, some hits of 2003. It's good though. This week now we got some fresh bits for you. We got Lush coming in with some fresh bits as well. Makes for a good new beginning.
From my cold dead hands.
First one coming out of the version camp. Outlook. We got another one here too by Stranger. We'll dig that up. Don't forget this week, Friday, down at the government in the main room. The one and only time you'll probably hear drum and bass in there. Swift, Friction, Skibba, Marcus himself, Lush and Everfresh. I believe Caddy as well. If I'm leaving anybody out, I don't have the flyer with me. Just going off the top of my head. And I have a worse memory, let me tell you. They're doing a switch with that room right now, and that's why everything fits perfect. So it's going to be probably the one and only chance to hear drum and bass in that room. And if you haven't been in that room, that's the one, I'm telling you. Make sure you link there. A rare party coming this Friday down at Government. Swift, Friction. Friction got voted the best new MC or DJ this year, or in December for last year. And don't forget, those guys are bringing the World of Drum and Bass party in March once again this year too, I believe. You know, that lineup's gonna be ill. big shout out to the Frankie Guns. Going to be starting up an old school night on Tuesday, so keep an ear to the ground for that one. There's going to be some serious old school selection going through that night. Supposedly I'm going to be on that bill too, so I'm going to plug it up. I believe that's going to be an Element. Fresh from Stranger, and I think this one's called Scott, S-C-O-T, I believe. That's what it said on the file anyways. This one's fresh, just did the mix down today, and he sent it over to me. I appreciate it, Alan. A brand new Stranger.